Hello, hello. Welcome to another Ask Your Mentor Anything live, another Friday. And what a better way to start September and getting back to business than having as a guest Francesca Manicardi. Hello, Francesca, how are you?
Hello, thank you. I'm fine. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you for accepting my invitation. I'm so happy because we have a great topic today to discuss. And actually, we added some other things in between that we were discussing. And I'm always happy to have new people that I have not interviewed before. So we will start also with introduction questions. So before that, let us know in the comments. Let's wait a few minutes, people to join us. Let us know in the comments if the sound, if the picture is okay. And to remind you that this is the Ask Your Mentor Anything live. For those that you might not know already the initiative, there are live interviews with colleagues from all over the world that they are sharing their expertise and background. And usually they take place on Fridays at 4 p.m. Central European Time. And you can find us live. I see that we are already live on LinkedIn, YouTube, public, Facebook page public, and in our Facebook private group, for those that they want to interact privately, is the Mentoring for Translators Facebook group, which is a private, safe community. And Francesca is a member there. So if you would like to continue the discussion later on, or it's Francesca directly, you can do that in the group. And of course, Francesca will share with us the details how to find her later on. So I see people joining us. Let us know in the comments if the sound of the picture is okay, if you can hear it well. And of course, use the comments below. In case you have questions, we would love to answer any kind of questions that you might have. So use the comments below. And Francesca and myself, we're going to do our best to have an interactive discussion with you. That's our main goal, actually. So Francesca, I always mention how we've met. So if we can say and know you online, of course, Punto F, I know that you've been very active in Italy with mentoring. So I knew you online, if we can say. But last, if I remember right, moment that I actually show you live was at the BP conference in May 2020, no, 2019, before COVID, that was that.
Yes.
And you were a speaker there, and I remember you had a great topic, and I really loved your talk back then. And then we met online in one of my sessions, and then we discussed the opportunity of actually having a live here. And thank you so much. So would you be kind to introduce yourself to those that they might not know you already, maybe non-Italian or people that they are just watching for the first time our sessions?
Yes. With pleasure. So, hi everyone, I'm Francesca. I'm from Italy, northern Italy. My city is Modena. Probably most of you know it from Ferrari, so the speedy car. And I'm an interpreter and translator. I work as Punto F. That's my business. But I'm also a mentor for wannabe interpreter and freelance, and translator that want to work as a freelancers. And well, I'm also a tutor. So my last business, it's Punto F Academy, where I teach languages. And so I get bored very, very easy. And so I do so many different things, but the common thing, the common heart is always languages.
I love that. I didn't know the Academy. You mentioned something, but we can, of course, give more details on that at the end of the live. So stay tuned until the end, and we will share with you more details where you can find more details about the Academy or to reach out, Francesca. So stay until the end. I see people joining us also on LinkedIn. Let us know in the comments, guys, where have you been on vacation? We would love to know in the meantime. And of course, if you have more questions about the topic, our topic is going to be how to deal with your business while sick, a COVID edition. Okay, that was a topic that Francesca suggested, and I really find it interesting because of the fact not only that we are living in a crisis all over the world, like because of the pandemic and COVID, but also because as solopreneurs and freelancers, we have that risk of an emergency coming up, like either sickness or an emergency any kind. So definitely, I think that all of us should be aware of tactics, practices, and things that we could have in mind, okay, so as to prepare ourselves. But before getting to our topic, we have the most common questions that my mentees ask me. So I usually go for those questions to the mentors that I know they have also to contribute. So the most common question is, if you remember, how did you start out as a translator? And the second is actually, if you remember, how did you get your first client? Do you remember?
Yes, so actually I wasn't working officially, so I was still studying when I got my first assignment, translation assignment, and it was by word of mouth. So a friend of a friend remembered that I was studying translation and asked me if I could translate a document for him, and that was my first time in the market. And I think the same was for interpreting. So probably a former professor, a professor that I had at the university, suggested me to a company that was looking for an interpreter for an event, and then I started. But I always say that I didn't started working by doing translation or interpreting, but I started for companies that hired me as an employee. So the first year and a half, I work as an employee for these companies, two different, which needed someone who knew very well languages. In fact, I was speaking and talking with clients all day long in English, German, and French, and so I was using my skills, but it was not actually interpreting and translator. Then I quit because the last company for which I worked decided to stop paying, so I was forced to stop, and then I started thinking to be a freelancer, since I've was a dream of mine since I was at university, and at the beginning I just choose for an employee job just for an economic situation, because I wanted to be financially independent and to go and live together with my boyfriend, and so that was the only reason on that choice. But then in 2014 I started to work as a freelancer. And then the next year, I started working on my personal branding, and I started working as a Punto F.
Yeah, you have a very strong branding online. We have very similar, if we can say, story, because I started out as an administration assistant and an in-house translator in a company. And then I had to leave the company because of financial crisis, and I started my translation agency in 2014. So we have very similar parallel, if we can say, path. So thank you for sharing that story. And it's really amazing and encouraging that our professors and people we have already in our circle might be or refer us to our first clients. So definitely this is something translators, starting out translators, they need to have into consideration when they're looking for their first job. So you know that I would love to know the story with Ferrari, but before getting to that, I don't know if this is common with the next question, which is actually the most common question. If you remember any moment in your career that you actually did a scale up, we call it like a moment that you felt, for example, financial freedom, or the moment you realized you got your dream client or a dream project. Do you have such a moment you would like to share with us?
Yes, but it wasn't at the very beginning, because I always say, even to my mentees, that when I started out, I didn't have any idea for what being a freelancer meant. And I still act as I was an employee. So I accepted all the rates and terms that for example, agency or other companies propose me, and I wasn't the one who was proposing her own terms and rates, for example. And I realized that I think 2 years after starting out as a freelancer. And in 2016, things started going good, quite good. And then from 2017 on, it was rising up slowly, but it's still increasing. And the very moment when I thought, well, I'm doing well. What I'm doing was when I found a client who accepted my rates, my higher rates than before, without asking discounts or without discussing. So one day he said, okay, all right, let's start. I thought, well, this is how I want to work. And I was very happy that finally I found the dream client, because I think also that we have to work with people who believe in ourselves and who believe in what we do and understand our value, what value we can add to their work. And that's the ideal client in real life. So not only the one who pays, but also the one that is close to us, even for values, for example.
Yeah, definitely. For me, one characteristic is not only paying on time, for example, is actually accepting our rates with no negotiation. So this is one characteristic I totally recommend that our ideal clients should have. That first client that you mentioned, Francesca, was not Ferrari, was another one. Is that correct?
No, wasn't Ferrari. I'm not working and I haven't worked for Ferrari, but my clients usually are all around the world. I have very few clients here in my city, but the most of them are spread all over the world.
Okay, so now it's the next question. If you have any most efficient or preferred way of getting clients, because I think many of the translators that are not based in a city center or where, if we can see the biggest clients, so they would really love to know how you get those international clients from all over the world or high-paying clients while being in a small city, northern Italy. So I think that would be really motivating and inspiring to share also your way of doing things there. And yeah, I would really love to know.
Okay, so I think that everyone who has worked as a translator or interpreter and as a freelancer in a while has done the remote working before it was cool. And so when I started out, the first thing I made was obviously to set a personal brand that was that could support my business, and then to have a professional website. And I'm very happy because most clients come from there. And I think that the fact they recognize on my website and what I've written on it, my values, how I work, which are my my area of expertise, and so on. That is the first point of contact. And I think that it's really rarely I get requests for jobs that are not in line with what I do. So this is a good point to work on, to have a professional website with obviously optimized for searching engine. So with keywords and well written without typos and so on. And I think that is the first thing to work on when establishing translation and interpreting business.
So usually everyone says that their first or preferred way of getting clients is referrals or word of mouth. So I'm really happy to hear another opinion here, but I assume it works a lot with SEO. So you need to work with a lot of SEO,
Yes.
optimization of your content on your website, so as to be able to be found by search engines, because it's not that easy. Okay, when you start a website, to be found right away. And being in the business myself, for I don't know, since 2011, having a website myself, okay, I have not invested much time on SEO and expanding the content of my website, but rarely I get clients directly. They tell me, okay, we find you on the internet, or we find you on Google, or whatever it is, but I doubt they find me directly through website. I assume that it's through other different search engines like social media that I have posted on my website, or another, if we can say, listing for companies where you include your website. But that's here what happens. So it's really promising, the fact that you say that you find high-end clients directly through your website, which means it really works for you. Okay,
yes, this is the first source, and then obviously also word of mouth, especially through social media, because people know other people, and they talk, and so here comes some referrals as well. But well, yes, the website is the main source.
That's really promising, and thank you for sharing that. I need to work on my website as well. Rarely I get directly through websites, so this is really, really good to know, and definitely it's worth it if you're starting out to invest in that, especially if you want to get direct clients, I suppose. Francesca, you're referring to direct clients.
Yes, exactly. I would just want to add a few more things. One is that I mainly work with direct clients and not with translation agency. There are very few that work, that collaborate with me. And the other thing is also that one of my specialization is to be a wedding interpreter. That is a really small niche, and I think that helps a lot, because I receive many requests for that, more than translation in general, for example. But finding a niche, it's obviously a thing that can help a lot.
So wedding interpreting, I assume locally, there where you're based?
No, I travel. Yes, in Italy, but also abroad. Here in Italy, it's binding to have an interpreter if you are not, if you do not have an Italian citizenship, and so you need to have an interpreter to translate all the ceremony, even if it's not the big ceremony with all the family, but well, the legal one. To be understood. And so many people choose Italy to get married because, well, it's really romantic. Yes. Yes, exactly. And so I was proposed for the first time a few years ago. I didn't have thought about that. I didn't thought that I could do such a thing, but I really love it. And well, I started proposing myself this service as well. And being a niche, it's really helpful to drive traffic on my website.
Definitely, keywords and niche to have a traffic on your website is really, really important. Thank you for sharing that as well. So next question is about mentees and mentoring in general, and the mentor. So what's your relationship? Because I know that you're both mentor and mentee yourself. So what's your relationship with mentoring? If you would like to share a few words, and then we enter our topic, guys.
Okay, so I really love it. I started doing this mentoring program. It's the Freelance Lab, in which I help wannabe interpreter and translator get set into the business. And I really love to be of help for other people, to support others, and to share which mistakes I did, the other people can avoid them. And even if I think that doing mistakes is really important to learn, and to get familiar of about how the business is going. But it's a thing that I really love doing, and I'm really happy to continue giving my service in that area and on that topics.
And you know, I've been saying myself, like, okay, yes, we are going to make mistakes, even if we have a mentor or not. But for me, for example, when I started out, it took me 1 year to write a CV. Why? Translators starting out their business in 2021, we're getting in 3 months in 2022, and newbies, new translators, they still have the same problems, the same challenges as we used to have. And the resources, I need to admit that there are more. So when I started out, there were no online or offline resources on how to write a CV.
Yeah.
Okay. So nowadays there are some resources, but still the challenges on how to get your first client, how to establish your business online or offline or whatever it is, your marketing, branding, still a secret. Still, most of the advanced translators, they don't want to share their expertise or their way of doing things. So for me, it's like more or less a similar situation like was 15 years ago when I started out. And that's a shame. And I really admire people like you that they want to share their expertise for free at conferences, online, blogging, writing, or even paid through mentoring programs and services, consultation they provide. For me, it's really worth the investment, because imagine taking you like a whole year to write a CV. Or for me, for example, to reach 6 figures and 5-figure months, it took me like more than 6 years. Why? My mentees, they do it in 1 year. In 1 year, they reach 10K per month, okay? And this is something I share my expertise with everyone. Whatever I do, I say it 100%. I don't keep secrets and things like that. So thank you for sharing that. And if you would like, guys, to check out Francesca's program, of course, we can share details in the group, in the comments. And of course, you can watch the recording anytime, go back with information. And but Francesca, how you would like to be contacted, if anyone would like to contact you via email, messenger?
Via email, it's the best way, because I always check them, and so I don't miss a thing. And I would like to add just a few things about this mentoring program. As you said, I decided to give birth to this new business because in the previous years I've searched for answers to my questions, and I didn't find any. Just a few former professors gave me advice, but I had plenty of questions and no one who could answer them. And I wanted to be that person who can help and give a reply to the main question of the newly interpreters and translators. And even because I don't know in the rest of the world, but in Italy, translation and interpreting university do not teach how to do once outside in the working world. And so this is important because it's there's a gap from university to the real world, and people do not know how to deal with daily life as a translator. And these effects also rates. I think that being aware of what means to offer very low rates bring people to choose to high their rates as well, and to do not harm our sector, our field as a translator and interpreters.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because we share the same values. My main concern when you undercharge your services is not just the fact that you receive less than what you deserve. It's the fact that you destroy a whole industry. It's the fact, this is why I encourage everyone who has an expertise or background, they can help new translators to help them actually practically, especially sharing their rates or best practices, just to avoid such situation that they actually, if we can say, affect in a bad way the whole industry, the whole profession. And for us here in Greece, it's the same situation. even though my mentees are not Greek, I teach all over the world, but definitely here in Greece, the same situation as Italy, there is a huge gap between academic. So you mentioned earlier that some professors of yours, they gave you some solutions. I doubt here in Greece we could have the same. I teach at the university. I'm currently a PhD candidate. I'm researching business performance for language professionals, and definitely there's a gap, and definitely it's not, if we can say, until now, the academic field that they can show the practical and business path to the new translators. Until now, I hope in the future that this might change. But definitely we have the same problem here in Greece, and I assume in many countries, based on the feedback that I get from people that I have been working through the last few years. So thank you for mentioning that as well. Was there anything else you would like to add before we get into our topic?
No, well, it was just a specification I wanted to say, because I think it's really important. And even the fact that if you apply very low rates, it's harmful for yourself as well, for your own business, because I think that people who pay less feel that the value of that service it's less. And if you pay a higher rate, you feel and you understand better the value of what you are purchasing. So I think that is another point to be considered.
It's a practical issue as well. So it's not charging our topic today, but definitely it's a practical issue behind of that, because you need to survive as a business. You are a business. You need to make
as well.
profit.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how much to charge, then definitely the next year you won't exist. You won't be able to pay, your bills, pay the month. So definitely this is a great topic, Francesca. Thank you for mentioning that. And we can have another live in the future whenever you to discuss that. And because I know your expertise in branding and pricing, since you mentioned, so we can have another live if you wish, and of course the public if they would like to learn more, because today's topic is actually how to deal with your business.
Yeah.
And it's a real story that I didn't know, that Francesca, she had COVID, so herself. So she's going to share with us practical ways that she used in her business, and problems that I think that you had to encounter, Francesca, yourself. So ways that we can prevent ourselves from facing the same problems. And this is a great topic, guys. If you have questions, say hello, of course. Even if you do not have questions, we'd love to see it, because I see that you're watching us. So Sarah, Maya, say hello. And of course, if you have questions, we would love to address them. Okay, we have half an hour ahead. So Francesca, we can't wait to hear you.
Okay, so last November I got COVID, and I couldn't believe it, because I was quite asymptomatic. I have a very mild symptoms. The strongest one was a very extreme fatigue, but I had no fever, I had no cough, and anything else. So it was quite of a bolt from the blue when I discovered that. And I went into panic, first of all, mentally, because obviously it's almost 1 year, and now 1 year and a half that we are continue exposed to very dramatic and tragic news every day, and I was very afraid for my health and the one of my family, because I got in contact with almost everyone in my family, because I had my birthday a few days before, so I visited all my family. And well, I was very worried, even because I thought, what would happen if my condition will get serious and I'm not able to work. The other fact is that I stopped for 1 month and a half from mid-September until the end of October. And as soon as I got back to work, I got COVID. And so I couldn't stop at all, because many things had started. And so I had to be present and to be available. But at the same time, I couldn't do anything. So what I did was to participate some projects, to delete other ones, and to go on with those the most urgent ones, even because I needed to get paid and to survive, even financially. Okay, so I decided to do that, and I was very happy to have already an organization of work that allowed me to take my break, to take some rest, and to do not work every day, all day long, to stay to continue working. And this was because I had already a system that allows me to delegate some parts of my work. I had, for example, shared emails with my assistant. She's the one who helps me when I'm on holiday. She's the one who reads my emails, who replies up to date, and who calls me or get me informed if there's any urgent situation. So I could delegate that part to her. And even the communication with the clients was a very important part. This is one of the main points of my business, because I wanted to be extremely transparent and to be extremely clear with my clients, even on what's going on. Obviously, not if I get an headache, but in that situation, I informed all the clients with whom I was collaborating, letting them know that I was ill. I was able to continue working, but they were informed that in case my situation got worse, I could be not available, and they were informed. Another thing that
Can I ask one question? Those projects that you're referring, I assume they were translation projects, not interpreting, because of the situation, I assume?
Yes, even because interpreting for me starts in December or then in January. I'm not used to work a lot on November, and so that were mainly translation and tutoring projects. So I could, yes, everything online, even because. Sorry, just a little thing. Even because in Modena last year in November, we were in lockdown because there were so many people got infected. So we were in lockdown. So I couldn't go out for work, even if I didn't have COVID. So that's the reason why everything was online.
And did you mention your clients that you had COVID, or that it was an illness or a sick situation in general? So what do you suggest for that?
No, I told them about COVID because I think that every one of us know what is going on in the world. And I think that even emotionally could make them closer to me, even in an empathic way. So I just wanted them to know the reality, even because in that case, if I had, if I said I was ill, they couldn't have understood how serious it could get, and I wanted them to know the truth and the reality, because I didn't know how the future would have gone.
Did you notice any change in their behavior or assigning you projects because of your limited, if we can say, availability that you might have had because of the fact of COVID, when you disclose that to your clients?
I was afraid of that. I was really afraid of the reaction on the other side, but I was really happy to understand and to know that those people were on. We shared the same values, and they appreciate a lot the fact that I told them the truth. well, the only thing we did was to get updated week by week, and I assured them as well. I wrote them frequently to say I was okay. I could deal with the project that were going on, and the only thing was that I might be a little bit slow in doing things, and I needed some more rest than in normal times. But well, we worked as before and as after. Nothing changed in our relationship.
Yeah, I think that would be a question of many people. This is why I asked that. We have that in our back of our mind that might affect the relationship. So this is promising and encouraging the fact that you didn't see any such change. And as a result, because you mentioned that those people, they share the same values as you. And last practical question, because you mentioned you have an assistant, and I think that would be also a question of other translators that they would like or would have in their mind as hiring an assistant. That would be another translator. So do you think that an assistant helping you with emails or answering phone calls should be aware of our business, or could be just an administration assistant and virtual assistant? And do they reply also your phone calls, or is something that they help you with the written communication? Should they be aware of, for example, quoting in case someone sends you a potential project, or do they just handle like the update, like we will get back to you, or giving you report of the emails and phone calls? Just a practical question, because I think many people will be interested in. Okay, cool.
So I hate phone calls in general, except
in Greece they love to call you for everything.
Well, except for my family and closest friends, but I don't like to be contacted by phone calls by clients, for example, or by collaborators. Obviously, if we need to talk and to see each other, we can arrange meetings. There's no problem. But usually, I'm online on calls with clients. That is for interpreting or assistance or even tutoring. Therefore, I'm not able to answer the phone. And for me, it's much better to have an email for everyone who works with me, because I can check them immediately. And if I can't reply in that moment, I can put them a red flag and then reply later. So I do not miss anything in that case. For my assistant, well, it was really hard for me to delegate, because I needed to know what is going on, because my business, it's like my son actually, and so I need to have control. But I discovered that it's really harmful, even because there are many things that I'm not so good at, and so it's better to have someone else to do that, because well, I have more time for myself or for my work, and so well, she replies to my emails and check my emails when I'm on holiday, but usually I do it by myself when I'm working. She helps me, for example, with the newsletter, so she set everything what is needed to send my emails in my newsletter, and she checks also, she proofreads what I'm reading, even for the blog, for example. And she's a valid help also for brainstorming when I have to launch anything, or I have new ideas or new ways of promoting, for example. I ask her for advice, and well, our collaboration is quite wide, not only on some aspects of my job. I don't like to delegate the part of accounting, for example, because for me it's quite complicated, and so that part is I do it by myself. I do an automatic invoicing program. So it's quite easy, simple, and fast. And what else? Well, and she tells me if anything is happening when I'm on holiday, for example, via WhatsApp. When I'm on holiday, I delete any account and I block any user on WhatsApp, except obviously family and her so she can contact me in any moment, even if I'm abroad, for example, and so we can have a chat. Or
do you think that, I assume that based on your description, that this person is aware of the translation business? So do you think that person that we should hire for such a position should be aware of our industry, of our business, should be a translator or language professional themselves? What do you think?
Well, it could be very useful. She wasn't aware of the translation business, but I taught her, and we are collaborating since already 4 years, I think. So she already know how I'm working, which are my projects, the launch that need to be followed, and so on. So I think that a long period collaboration obviously is key, because maybe you have to invest some time to teach someone else how to do things in order to work for you. But in the end, it's absolutely a very useful help.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. So guys, you think there are many different ways you can hire someone in the business, you can hire someone out of the business, but they might get to know your business at some point. So thank you for sharing that, Francesca. So you already mentioned the good organization, you mentioned delegation, you mentioned having an assistant, you mentioned the fact of clarity and transparency with your clients, the fact that you inform them. What else you would like to add to that as a part of
obviously, I'm a planning fan, because also planning in advance some big events, for example, it's crucial to be always on point and to don't miss anything, and also to do not feel overwhelmed by too many things, to have whole idea of what's going on helps a lot to set to prioritize things and to choose what to do actually and what to postpone, for example. And that helped me a lot, even in that emergency situation. Even because unfortunately COVID doesn't have a 3 weeks long duration, but it lasts much more. So I didn't felt well until June, from November last year.
Really?
And so it was really exhausting, because I was really exhausted. I had absolutely no strength, and it was very difficult to work and to stay concentrated, even because then during months many other assignments luckily came, and so I couldn't stop at all. But this is another crucial point, to allow ourselves to stop once in a while, and to plan these stops could help us in an emergency situation, but also in normal situation, just to have some rest and to be ready to new challenges and new assignments that could be very heavy if we are tired and not concentrated enough.
What someone should do in order to plan themselves for such a stop, whatever is the reason of the stop? But you mentioned we should plan ahead for having. I assume we need to have some money aside. One part is that, so as to be able to stop.
Yeah.
The other thing is to have ways of actually keep our clients without rejecting projects. So we need to have a team working for us.
Yeah, exactly.
Those projects. What else you would like to add?
Well, actually, I was I meant to stop even for a few days, for example, a long weekend, okay? Not necessary few weeks, but if you can, it's all right even to stop for a whole or 2 weeks, or even more if you need it. But another thing I didn't mention before, but it's very crucial for me when I go on holiday, or even when I need to stop, is the collaboration with other colleagues, for example. So I have a few colleagues which I trust completely, to whom I give my work when it comes, and I'm not able to do it by myself, even if I'm working, even if I'm healthy and not ill. For example, if I cannot deal with any request, I have few other colleagues that can help me, and even when I'm off, both for illness or holiday. So my assistant knows that she can rely on that people are informed previously that I won't be available, and I ask them if they are available and can help, and then everything works smoothly.
Amazing. So we already mentioned great practical ways that you can take as precaution measures in case of an emergency, or in case you would like to plan a stop or a break in your business. Is there anything else you would like to add, Francesca? Something else?
For me, it was very important to participate to networking events before COVID, obviously, because right now it's quite impossible to know many colleagues, and even word of mouth. It's really useful in that occasion, not only to let us know, but also to have suggestion of other people who can cover different language pairs, for example, or different fields of expertise. And that was really important for me, because allowed me to have a team working together by my side, even in case of an emergency. So I had always worked even with my mentees. So in case of help, I always ask them first, because are people that I know very well. I know how they work, and I know how I taught them, so I know that everything goes well with them. So I trust them completely.
It's really interesting. So guys, if you missed, you can watch the recording already. Francesca mentioned great ways, practical ways of actually taking care, or actually precaution measures in case of an emergency. So having an assistant, a virtual assistant, someone to reply your emails, or a team where you will be able to delegate projects that you trust, the translators, colleagues. The fact that you need to be organized, and the transparency with your clients, informing them about your own situation. Those are really practical ways that you can prepare yourself, or at least feel prepared, be ready, if we can say, for such an emergency. Do I miss something, Francesca, for what you mentioned?
No, I think that's all. But if anyone would like to suggest anything else, it could be great.
Definitely, guys, if you're listening, I see that you're live here with us, and we really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You're live on LinkedIn, you're live on Facebook and YouTube. So use the comments and let us know if you have any more ways. And even if you're watching the replay, use the hashtag replay and tag me and Francesca. We're both members of the group, so we will be able to see your comments. Suggest any other ways that we didn't describe here in case of an emergency or illness. What do you do in your business, okay, so as to keep it safe and actually keep continuing accepting projects and having your clients satisfied, and survive, of course, as a business. And of course, if you have questions, even if you're watching the replay, use the hashtag replay, tag me or Francesca, and we will get back to you with an answer to your question. So last question, I think, before the last, is actually, what have you learned? If we can say, is there anything you'd like to share as an experience? Because you had such an experience for 6 or 7 months, and I didn't realize that it was so long. Okay, so what are the lessons or something you give as an advice overall?
Well, actually, the first one is to be very careful, even now that we can be vaccinated. I think I got infected in a cafe, having my breakfast for my birthday. So it was absolutely a normal thing, a normal event. But probably I got infected there. And so be absolutely aware of the situation in which we can find. The other thing, obviously, to plan ahead, the most important thing of your business, to work in advance, and even to calculate a kind of extra time for each assignment in order to be able to deal with any emergency. I learned that in last year's, not only with this COVID experience, because anything could happen, from the computer that doesn't work, from don't know, Wi-Fi that doesn't work, illness, a family emergency, or whatever. So having 2, 3, 4 more days available to deliver our projects, it's absolutely a must. And that's the reason why I rarely accept projects with a very tight deadlines, because I'm always afraid that something could happen, and
it might happen. That's the reality. Definitely, that's my advice, and I've been practicing that in my businesses the very early times. I would always give 2-3 days more. I knew that I would deliver, for example, 2 days, but I would give 4 days in advance because of illness or something. Something would happen to me as an emergency, and definitely also because I collaborate with the team. I know that someone might not be able to deliver on time, or they cannot meet the deadline, especially if I use a proofreader, or if I deliver a project in different languages and we work with many different translators, things like that might happen. So in order to be able to meet the deadlines and to be able, of course, to actually be trustworthy to our clients, we need to have that time frame a bit longer, and that's a precaution measure that Francesca actually mentioned also for COVID and such situations. So thank you for sharing that. Anything else, Francesca?
I think that working with some few days on a deadline helps us even to work better and more relaxed, because we know we have enough time, and even if we have a little bit of time extra time. So I think that could be useful anyway. And even on interpreting assignments, I do a similar thing, especially in the last few months when I got a request for an interpreting assignment. I always immediately contact even a colleague of mine, because in case we got COVID again, for example, and we cannot be present at that event, it's a way to make our clients feel more comfortable and more secure that the event could be done anyway, because of another colleague that can work at our instead of us. If we want.
That is great advice.
It's a little bit complicated in the beginning to set everything. You need to have someone who you trust, and you have to set everything, even for what concerns, for example, rates, because obviously you have to think about paying another person and his or her time for preparation, for example, but it could be of help.
Yeah, definitely. So thank you. We can have another live on how.
Or two, one or two.
Yeah, because it's huge the topic, and I know there is interest in that, but definitely we cannot cover that in 1 hour, everything. So we're focusing on practical ways, and I think Francesca already mentioned many of them, and I hope that you are keeping notes. I've been keeping notes here. Is there anything else you would like to add, Francesca?
Well, I think I said anything I wanted, but if there are any question or doubt, I'm here and I'm happy to reply, or even for those who see us, watch us later. So leave a comment and I will be back replying.
Amazing. So we discussed already, if you missed the live or if you just got up, okay, with us here, how it was to get COVID, the real example, a real story from Francesca that actually got COVID, okay? How Francesca managed her business while ill, okay, so practical ways. What Francesca learned, practical advice, and actually how to stay organized in case of an emergency, practical also tips Francesca gave us today, and I hope that you have kept already some notes. If you still have questions, use the comments below and we will get back to you. I see some questions, Francesca, but they are about like how to find a trustworthy colleague. How do you manage, for example, the payments with an interpreter and things like that? But definitely the time is not always enough to discuss such topics, and it's really interesting. Guys, if you would like more advice or to discuss further with Francesca, we can share the email in the comments, or you can mention it now, Francesca, your email or how you would like to be contacted.
Yes, my email is info at punto f.com.
Yeah, if you've been following Francesca Manicardi on social media, you will be able to find that. So it's everywhere as Punto F, and it's very accessible online. So definitely, and of course, we're going to write that down, and we are going to follow up with you in the Mentoring for Translators Facebook group. But no matter where you are watching us right now, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook public page, or Facebook group, definitely, if you tag us, we will be able to get back to you ASAP with any answers. And I would like to invite you, if you allow me, Francesca, to a live masterclass that I've been hosting next Wednesday since the opportunity we're here. So I'm sharing the link in the comments so you can join us free. And because I have had two stories of two of my mentees that they recently reached the 10K months. They reached to earn 10K euros per month or Canadian dollars, because one is in Canada. I'm hosting this live because you asked me how they did manage to reach the 5-figure month, and it's real stories, guys. So I totally invite you as a free, and I'm going to say here with content, actually strategy in 4 steps, you will be able also to live this masterclass with practical and tangible results. You will be able to create your LinkedIn content strategy. So thank you so much, Francesca. It was lovely having you here. You're always so generous sharing your knowledge with people. I wish you success with your academy. I don't know if you have more information you would like to share.
Well, actually, it's a place where to learn English, German, and French thought for Italian speakers. So I don't know if there's any Italian speakers. Otherwise, I can't help with the academy, but I could help for anything else. Thank you, Virginia, to having me here today for your invitation. I'm really happy.
It was a pleasure. Thank you. Such a great discussion. The time flies, as always been saying. So thank you everyone who joined us here live, and thank you everyone who's watching the recording. And we will see you next Friday or every Friday in the Mentoring for Translators group, or join us on social media, myself and Francesca. We're accessible on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere. So definitely you can find us online. And of course, Francesca has already shared her email, so you can contact her directly through email to discuss any further topics and collaboration opportunities. So thank you so much all. Have a great weekend. Francesca, you stay here with me and I close the live, okay?
Yes, okay.
So
thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.